Hello everyone. Today we will see about obstetric and we had studied various diseases in pregnancy, medical diseases in pregnancy like anemia, heart disease, jaundice, various viral diseases, diabetes, that is gestational diabetes. So these were medical diseases we had seen. Now we will see obstetrical condition, which is it's not actually a disease, but if it is not treated in time and if it is not diagnosed in time, then it can cause some serious effects on pregnant mother as well as newborn infant. So the disease or the disorder is hyperemesis gravidum, or it is the disease that is or the disorder or what we called as the clinical feature is vomiting in pregnancy. So vomiting in pregnancy is very natural because of the, as we all know, there is formation of zygote in pregnancy by combination of ovum and sperm. There is a combination of ovum and sperm that leads to formation of zygote. The zygote is composed of chorionic tissues, that is chorionic villi, and they secrete the hormone that is called as human chronic gonadotropin hormone, that is HCG. This hormone is very much responsible for the morning sickness or vomiting sickness of that pregnant lady. So this hormone is responsible for all these things. So whenever there is increased level of this hormone or excessive level of this hormone, that causes the disorders or vomiting disorders in pregnancy. So first of all we will see about vomiting in pregnancy. As we had studied, vomiting in pregnancy, normal vomiting in pregnancy is because of this HCG hormone, because of the increased level of HCG hormone, or rather you can say whenever there is presence or secretion of this HCG hormone, there will be sensation of vomiting. So vomiting is seen in almost all pregnant ladies. So it is because of HCG. So that is simple vomiting in pregnancy, that we called as vomiting in pregnancy, or it is morning sickness, or it is called as emesis gravidum. This is normal vomiting in pregnancy, and usually this is seen in early trimester and it remains up to 12 to 14 weeks. After that, this vomiting sensation does not exist. This slowly disappears. So it is morning sickness. That complaint belongs to first trimester or early trimester of pregnancy, during initial days or initial weeks of pregnancy. Second thing is whenever it is excessive, this vomiting is excessive and there is constant and excessive vomiting, that we call as hyperemesis gravidum. So vomiting in pregnancy is because of the HCG hormone secretion. Whenever it is in normal level, it is called as vomiting in pregnancy or emesis gravidum. Whenever it is hyperemesis gravidum, that means it is excessive, unstoppable vomiting, continuous vomiting. So that is pregnancy related vomiting and it is because of the normal physiology in pregnancy. But whenever it is in control, we call it as emesis, and whenever it is excessive, we call it as hyperemesis. Increased vomiting is hyperemesis. Now other causes for vomiting in pregnancy are, as some surgical causes are there. Whenever there is appendicitis during pregnancy, whenever there is ulcer, peptic ulcers during pregnancy, whenever there is intestinal obstruction in pregnancy, sometimes cholecystitis during pregnancy, maybe sometimes because of urinary tract infection in pregnancy, sometimes maybe hepatitis or jaundice in pregnancy, uremia in pregnancy, intestinal infections, various types of GIT infections, various types of uterine fibroids, ovarian tumors, twisted tumors. So these are some conditions which are present during pregnancy. Usually these are surgical conditions. So whenever a patient who is a lady who is pregnant and she have a continuous vomiting, we may misdiagnose it as a vomiting in pregnancy, or basically we diagnose it as a morning sickness if it is in first term. Young lady comes with LMP and 2 or 3 months pregnant she is, and she have this vomiting and pain in abdomen, and we may label her as ANC condition with vomiting in pregnancy, and there is pain in abdomen because of this pregnancy. If UPT is positive, then it may suggestive of normal things. But if we do her sonography and we may find appendicitis. So clinical features of appendicitis are almost same. There is vomiting, there is pain in abdomen, and patient may be pregnant. So it is appendicitis during pregnancy that may misguide with the vomiting in pregnancy. So we should be very clear about the conditions. So these are the conditions which may lead to vomiting in pregnancy. So normal vomiting in pregnancy is a hormonal or it is a physiological thing. But whenever it is associated with some surgical condition, then we have to diagnose that condition. So we should be aware of other causes of vomiting in pregnancy. Just not like that, there is vomiting in pregnancy or it's very natural. No, we should diagnose. We should have a proper history, clinical features. We should examine the patient and we should differentiate the condition accordingly. So these are some causes of vomiting in pregnancy. Now, normal vomiting in pregnancy. This is classified as vomiting in pregnancy is classified as simple vomiting in pregnancy, that is emesis gravidum, and whenever it is increased, that is hyperemesis gravidum. So we first see about emesis gravidum, that is simple vomiting in pregnancy. Now simple vomiting in pregnancy, that we call as morning sickness in common language, and the patient complaint of nausea along with vomiting, but there is excessive nausea rather than vomiting. Patient have continuous nauseatic sensation. Again, this is a differentiating point. With other surgical condition, there is rather increased level of or increased frequency of vomiting than nausea, but these patients normal physiology of this morning sickness is there is continuous nausea, especially in morning time, so it is called as morning sickness. So there is nausea in the morning, especially on rising in morning, and there is sometimes there is vomiting along with this nausea, and this is very normal, and this nausea may remains full day, or sometimes it remains for some hours, but mainly it is seen at the morning time. And vomiting is small and it is clear. It is not usually it is not a blood stain, yellowish or bile stain. So it is clear vomiting, and usually it does not causes any problem to her health and her daily activities. So usually these patients have nausea in the morning and sometimes vomiting, and this nausea usually it vanishes off during the daytime. In some female it remains for the daytime, but usually it is seen in the morning hours. So these are the clinical features. Mainly clinical feature is vomiting, and mainly it's nausea associated with vomiting. Sometimes there may be pain in abdomen. Because of this nausea and vomiting, patient does not have her proper diet, food. So maybe weakness, general weakness, giddiness sometimes, and maybe associated complaints of backache and other weakness complaints, sometimes vertigo and other things. But usually there is nausea, vomiting, and complaining of inability to have her daily food or daily diet. So weakness is there. On examination, in some female, if there is no vomiting, patient may have slight decrease in blood pressure, that we call as hypotension. Some patient may have bradycardia, slightly decreased pulse rate, and other things are usually normal. They should be normal. If it is morning sickness, just physiological vomiting, patient is usually fit. She does not have any other complaints. Patient should not be in shock, should not be in anemic condition. So all other things are normal. And investigation, we do whatever the ANC profile needs, all the routine investigation and all. But for vomiting in pregnancy, we should not do particular investigation if we are clear about the diagnosis. If we have to differentiate the condition with other surgical condition, then we have to advise for ultrasonography, as we can differentiate with appendicitis, intestinal obstruction, with peptic ulcers. So we have to do the investigation accordingly. Usually we suggest for USG, and other investigations are routine investigations. And management for simple vomiting is just to have about the dry food, advice about the food habit, to have dry food like biscuit or toast in morning time, and then she can have her daily diet in afternoon, and plenty of fluids are advised fluid intake should be proper, because this vomiting or this nauseatic feeling may change to dehydration. Patient can go in dehydration, and that will not be good for her health also and for baby's well-beingness also. So we advise for plenty of fluids, and if she is not able to have this type of fluids, then we recommend for IV fluids. We can give her IV fluids. And for this nausea and vomiting, usually medicines are not advisable, but if there is excessive nausea and vomiting, we can give some antiemetic tablets, antacids and all other things. To control the vomiting, we give antiemetics. There is a particular tablet for this other tablets or other antiemetics like Perinorm and other things, which are contraindicated. So there is Doxynate Plus is the tablet we usually prescribe for this vomiting or morning sickness. This is the safe tablet which does not have any side effect on baby also and for mother also. So Doxynate Plus we advise for morning sickness, along with some antacids and some supplementary things, B complex and other things, because patient may have weakness and other things. So that is simple vomiting or physiological what we call as morning sickness in pregnancy. Now next is, if this vomiting is excessive, continuous, then we called as hyperemesis gravidum, and this is severe type of vomiting in pregnancy which have got serious effects on mother as well as on fetus. So that is called as hyperemesis gravidum. Now this condition usually is associated with HCG hormone. Whenever there is excessive level of this HCG hormone or there is excessive secretion of HCG hormone, there will be excessive vomiting. Now this HCG hormone is secreted in large quantity, especially in hydatidiform mole or molar pregnancy, because there is multiplication of chorionic villi. From single villi there is multiplication of this villi, and there are thousands of villi, chorionic villi or moles. So in this pregnancy there is excessive level of HCG hormone. So in that also there is increased level of HCG hormone which causes excessive vomiting. So molar pregnancy or hydatidiform mole is the condition. Secondly, twin pregnancy. If there is presence of multiple pregnancy, again they have excessive HCG, and that will cause this more than hyperemesis. So molar pregnancy, twin pregnancy, some abnormal pregnancy, and patient with age more than 35, patient with previous history of hyperemesis, patient with family history of hyperemesis especially from her mother's side, patient with some medicines, with history of some medicines, steroids or antibiotics prolonged, patient with anti-tuberculin treatment. If she is having coughs and taking treatment, she may have this type of vomiting. So patient with different types of drug history, and patient with psychological history, continuous stress, anxiety, that may causes excessive vomiting. Patient with some associated disorders like jaundice or hepatitis, liver diseases, gallbladder diseases like cholecystitis and all. So these are the conditions where patient may have excessive vomiting, that we called as hyperemesis. So these are the causes for hyperemesis. Some patient may have dietic deficiency, especially patient with deficiency of vitamin B12 or B complex deficiency, that leads to this hyperemesis. Some patient may have some other things, like patient may have some dietic problems also during pregnancy, so that may have this hyperemesis. These are some reasons for excessive vomiting during pregnancy. This excessive vomiting or hyperemesis is nothing but the continuous and prolonged vomiting sessions. Like patient have this projectile vomiting. In morning sickness there is vomiting, but as we had seen, it is very clear and very small quantity of vomiting. But in this hyperemesis, the quantity is also increased, and their frequency is also increased, and the duration is also increased, and the vomiting is typical of projectile type, where there is excessive fluid loss to that mother or to that lady, and because of this fluid loss, that causes deterioration of her health. There is severe fluid loss, and because of that her health is deteriorated, and if maternal health is deteriorated, that will naturally deteriorate the fetal health. So this condition usually causes problem to that lady as well as that fetus. So complications, if it is not treated on time, then some complications of hyperemesis are patient may go in dehydration state or in shock state, hypovolemic shock, and patient can die, that lady can die. Also there can be death of that baby, that is IUD, intrauterine death, because of the deficient supply to that baby. Baby may have congenital abnormalities, or sometimes there is IUD, fetal death. Next is dehydration and shock and death of that baby. Patient may have lowered immunity because of this excessive fluid loss. Her immunity is decreased, and because of that recurrent infections, chances of various types of viral infections, bacterial infections. So patient can go in a septicemia like condition. So these are common things which can lead to serious condition if it is not diagnosed and treated on time. There are complications in her circulation because of the fluid loss. There can be liver or kidney failure, renal failure, liver complications can arise. Sometimes it may lead to brain complications or CNS complication, stroke like condition, and patient can go in coma, or patient can have sudden cardiac arrest and death of patient. So this is a very simple condition, easy to diagnose, easy to treat, but if not treated or if not diagnosed on time, then these complications can arise. Especially these conditions are seen in poor patient because they are not able to diagnose the condition or cannot have the proper meditations or proper care during ANC. So all these things or all the complications can occur during ANC, and this is the common cause for maternal death in rural area, especially in that poor class. So that is about hyperemesis, and what are the causes of hyperemesis and what are the complications of hyperemesis. Clinical features are very clear. There is patient have continuous vomiting rather than nausea. In this condition there is vomiting sensation which is more. In morning sickness there is continuous nausea, or especially nausea in the morning time with vomiting, but vomiting is in a limit. But in this condition there is nausea, but there is excessive and continuous vomiting, and this vomiting remains for the complete day. It's not like it is for the morning time, no, it remains for complete day, or sometimes in night also. Main complaint is vomiting, and because of this excessive vomiting, patient have all the complaints of dehydration. Patient have weakness, giddiness, dry tongue. Patient have repeated giddiness or attacks of this giddiness or vertigo. Patient have pain in abdomen because of this vomiting. Patient have pain in her abdomen. So these are main complaints of patient. Patient have anuria or dysuria, urinary problems, because fluid is lost in vomiting. So patient have urinary problems. Because of this, patient have urinary tract infection also. So patient have burning and retention of urine also. Sometimes constipation because improper diet and cannot digest her food properly, so can have the constipation. Pain in abdomen is very common, and sometimes patient have infection. Because of this, we had seen there is lowered immunity and chances of recurrent infections. So patient may have fever, chills because of this infection, dry tongue, sunken eyes, tachycardia, hypotension. These are the main signs of patient. On general examination there is hypotension. BP is lower down 90/60 or less than that also. So hypotension, normal blood pressure is 120/80 mmHg. So in this condition it may decrease up to 90/60 mmHg. There is tachycardia, increased pulse rate. There is maybe increased temperature if patient have infection. So all these things. Sometimes in serious condition there may be jaundice, yellowish discoloration can be seen. So these are the things or examination we can do. We can do PSPV examination also if it is comfortable for her, but usually PV examination and PS examination we does not prefer because already patient is in shock like condition. And if we do the examination, we can see if there is infection, if there is discharge, we can see that. Now investigations, usually we advise all the routine investigation for this condition, but basic investigation we do is pregnancy, that is in this pregnancy is USG, to see the exact condition of baby, placenta, amniotic fluid, because of this fluid loss, there is also decreased level of amniotic fluid, that is oligohydramnios. We had seen in oligohydramnios, because of the excessive vomiting or hyperemesis, there is decreased level of amniotic fluid. So for checking all these things, fetal condition, fluid condition, fetal growth, we do the USG investigation, and also we do investigation to rule out any underlying surgical condition along with that. If patient have hepatitis, if patient have perforated ulcer, if patient have appendicitis, so we do the investigation accordingly. Main investigation is USG, and after that we have to give the proper treatment for this hyperemesis, because the simple thing which can turn into serious complication. So we give the treatment is, again, it is preventive as well as curative. Preventive is, we should prevent the condition by giving her proper guidelines during her ANC session to have dry food, to have plenty of fluid water or any liquid, to have proper diet, proper exercise, to avoid deficiency, vitamin supplement, iron supplement, folic acid supplement. We can give the things. We can diagnose the any other underlying condition by proper examination. So early ANC registration we should do, and that is very important, to have proper general examination as well as systemic examination. If patient have any other history or any other underlying disease, so proper ANC examination can prevent the things, prevent the complications. So in prevention, we should give her supplementary things, proper dietetic advice, proper fluid advice, and diagnose the any other associated condition. So we give all the things and we prevent the condition to be very serious. So prevention is one part. Then secondly, curative. For hyperemesis, naturally we have to give the proper treatment. We should give the treatment to control the vomiting and to maintain the fluid level. To control the vomiting, we give the injections like antiemetic injections. We can give injection on them, that is MSET. We can give injection Perinom. This will control the vomiting. And now for acidity, we can give antacids like injection Pan-40, and various injections are there. So we can give injectable antiemetics to control the vomiting, and we can give antacid injections to reduce the acidity. We can give some analgesics to relieve her pain in abdomen. We can give analgesics, and important is IV fluids. Multiple of IV fluids should be given to control her fluid level, to prevent the dehydration. So that patient can prevent, or patient can have the reverse condition. So we give give IV fluids. If necessary, if patient have infection, we give antibiotic injections. And after that, after settling her condition, we can give the tablet form. Tablet of antiemetic, antacid tablets, analgesic tablet, antibiotic tablet if necessary. And then we check the general condition of patient, as well as if necessary we advise for USG to see the condition of baby and amniotic fluid. So we do the treatment according to her cause. If there is underlying cause, if patient have jaundice, hepatitis, we give the treatment accordingly. If patient have appendicitis, then opinion about surgery, or we should wait and watch and do the medicinal treatment if it is a minor infection. If there is ulcer, so treatment is planned accordingly. If surgery has to be performed or just have to be kept on medicinal treatment. So according to that cause, we give the treatment. In some cases, or rarely, there is hyperemesis which is not controlled by this treatment also. Patient have given this treatment, and whenever hospitalization is done and all this treatment is given, after that she is advised to have tablet forms. Still patient have these repeated attacks of hyperemesis, severe attacks of vomiting and severe dehydration. Patient can go in shock. In these conditions, we advise for termination of pregnancy. As this condition is seen usually in early pregnancy, termination of pregnancy can be possible. So if there is serious hyperemesis which can cause deterioration of her health as well as for baby's growth and other things, we can decide about the termination of pregnancy. If because of excessive vomiting baby have congenital diseases or congenital anomaly, then there is no use of continuation of pregnancy. So if it is not controlled by this our treatment line, then we can decide about the termination of pregnancy. Also, we can terminate the pregnancy if there is underlying issue, which is like tumor, if perforated appendix, if twisted cyst. At the surgical condition to save the life of patient, we can decide about the termination of pregnancy. So this is about vomiting in pregnancy. Actually, it is a topic which is clinically very important, because this is easy to diagnose and very easy to treat, but it can, if it is not treated on time, it can cause severe complications. So this is about vomiting in pregnancy. Normal vomiting in pregnancy is because of the hormonal imbalance, or because of the HCG increased level of HCG, that causes vomiting in pregnancy, which is called as morning sickness. And this is usually seen in almost all the females, but it usually subsides after 12 weeks, and there is usually nausea more than vomiting. Patient have this early morning nausea rather than vomiting, and associated complaints because of this nausea. Patient does not have proper food, so weakness, giddiness, and loss of appetite and etc. complaints are seen. And this usually subsides after 12th week and just needs some antiemetic treatment, antacid treatment. Oral treatment is sufficient. In some cases, IV fluids are advised to have the proper fluid level, and the condition is when it is continuous and excessive vomiting, the condition is called as hyperemesis. In that, vomiting is continuous, excessive, more quantity, and more than nausea there is vomiting, and because of this continuous vomiting, excessive vomiting, there is fluid loss that causes various complications on mother as well as on fetus. So treatment is given accordingly, and if it is not controlled, then whether pregnancy should be continued or terminated, that can be decided. Again, there is role of homeopathic medicine in all the condition, because these treatment which we had seen, antiemetics, antacid, these are very symptom like treatment which is given on the based on the symptoms. If patient have vomiting, we give antiemetic. If patient have acidity, we give antacids. But these are the drugs which can cause side effects on mother as well as on that baby. So it's better to have homeopathic remedies. So line of treatment is decided whether to give her homeopathic treatment or allopathic. Nowadays, many patients have the preference for homeopathic treatment. So there are homeopathic remedies which are very wonderful for this morning sickness and hyperemesis. So study about these remedies and homeopathic treatment for this condition.